So, apparently we're all stupid. Like, historically stupid. Because the administration looked at this situation and said, yeah, they'll buy that. Just say it confidently and fast. No evidence, no timeline, no waiting. Just vibes, buzzwords, and the word lawful repeated like it's a spell. And they are absolutely shocked that anyone still has questions.
At 10:25 a.m. Central Time, Immigration and Customs Enforcement were carrying out lawful operations here in Minneapolis.
Every horror story starts with lawful operations.
When a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations.
A mob, not citizens, not witnesses, not people who might complicate the story. A mob, because mobs don't deserve context.
And she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day.
Stalking all day, which is impressive considering this narrative was clearly assembled in about 15 minutes.
She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over.
Congratulations to the administration for discovering that literally everything can be a weapon, if you're trying hard enough.
This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism.
Domestic terrorism, because nothing says terrorism like being declared guilty by the same people who pulled the trigger.
The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots.
Defensive shots, because bullets are apparently emotional support objects now.
He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues.
Well, good thing the training didn't include waiting, de-escalating, stepping out of the way of the vehicle, or not killing someone.
It's clearly established law that a vehicle driven by a person and used to harm someone is a deadly weapon.
Cool. We've reached the part where the law is explained by the person who benefits from it.
Deadly force is perfectly lawful when a threat is faced by a weapon.
Perfectly lawful. Not investigated. Not reviewed. Perfect.
This was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people.
Congrats. One person is dead, and now the entire country is under attack. Very efficient framing.
The deadly incident that took place in Minnesota yesterday occurred as a result of a larger, sinister, left-wing movement that has spread across our country, where our brave men and women of federal law enforcement are under organized attack.
Sinister, organized, everywhere, conveniently invisible.
ICE agents are faithfully enforcing federal law.
Faithfully. Like a belief system, which explains why dissent is treated as heresy.
Right now, Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers are facing a 1,200% increase in assaults, a 3,200% increase in vehicle rammings, and an 8,000% increase in death threats.
Those numbers are huge, scary, and completely unsupported, which is the sweet spot for this administration.
The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action.
This is where accountability gets escorted out of the room.
That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job.
Absolute immunity. Translation? Don't even think about consequences.
I can believe that her death is a tragedy while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making.
There it is. Sympathy complete. Responsibility reassigned.
And a tragedy of the far left who has marshaled an entire movement, a lunatic fringe, against our law enforcement officers.
Once you say lunatic fringe, you're legally allowed to stop thinking.
I want to say to the father that I love all of our people. They can be on the other side. As you say, he might be on my side.
He is on your side.
And I think that's great.
This is the empathy portion of the program.
I would bet you that she, under normal circumstances, was a very solid, wonderful person. But, her actions were pretty tough.
Pretty tough. She was wonderful, right up until the part where you needed her to be guilty.
When you look at that tape, it can be viewed two ways, I guess. But when you look at the way that car was pulled away, there are a couple of versions of that tape that are very, very bad.
Two versions. The way we say what happened, or the way we say what happened.
I encourage the American people at this point in time to pray for him, but also to pray for the deceased's family and her loved ones.
And now prayer, the universal substitute for accountability.
I talk about morality. I'm a moral person.
Good news, everyone. The system has been replaced by a guy saying, "Trust me."
So yeah, it's limited by my morality, and I have a very high grade of morality, so therefore it's limited.
Self-scored, self-graded, self-approved.
Not the Constitution, not the courts. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Well, the Constitution and courts, that goes without saying, but you're asking me what really can stop? We'll never get to the courts. We'll never get to the Constitution because I want to see what's good for our country. And you know what? The courts want to see that too.
And there it is. No courts, no constitution, just vibes, power, and a microphone. So that's it. A woman is dead. The story's finished. The cop is immune. The Constitution is optional, and the investigation is replaced by prayer and a guy grading his own morality. If you're confused, don't worry. That just means you're still thinking.